Can you see my face like right now?
Well, good evening, and welcome to the All Sports All Plays Network's post-game show. This is from Freddie Henderson, and I'm joined by the wonderful Chris Brown. What's up with it, Chris? You having a good night so far, man?
Uh, Not gonna lie, my day was ruined earlier, but it was a good day of sports, basketball and football. But especially in football games and the way it ended off, man, I can't complain too much about how it ended. But I'm not going to get into why I'm upset. I think but no, it was a great day in football, man. Great day.
Yeah, we definitely not gonna get into that. We'll get into that tomorrow on our show tomorrow
I plead
evening.
the fifth.
So, because we might see you have a moment on our show.
Oh, it's not might. I will. I let's just stay tuned, everybody, for Monday, and you'll have. Whew, that's all I can say. I can't go
All
too
right.
deep.
Well, let's get right into it. Like you said, we had a wonderful event of football today.
Hmm.
Had some big time matchups. Had some must win games. And some teams that lost today. Let's get into it. The
Yeah.
first game we'll get into is the Dallas Cowboys going against the Seattle Seahawks. Um, that game score was 38-31. At first Seattle had a little lead on it. Actually, it probably should be won by 2 touchdowns. If DK Metcalf would have, held on to the ball more and, sprinted to the end zone. But
Yes.
Dallas did make a little comeback on it. So, what was your thoughts on that game?
It was a great game. Everything I expected coming down to the wire. Let's be honest. We talk about the Cowboys, but they have a very, very good offense. They have good players all around. They just came out and showed it tonight. But I mean, this Seahawks team is legit. Take away what DK Metcalf did. The Cowboys shouldn't have been in the game. DK scores right there. That's a touchdown. This whole ball game is different. I feel like it was a very, very back and forth type of game. Dak, he had 3 touchdowns, 472 yards, but he also threw 2 picks. I really count it as one. That one pick was at the end of the game. He had to throw it up. So he really he had a very good game. And did you see that last play where he avoided the sack? I talk about Dak a lot, but he is a very good quarterback, and I think he proved it. But the best. I'm not going to say the best. One of the best quarterbacks in the league on the other side showed out 5 touchdowns. Dude has the most touchdowns in the first 3 games in NFL history. They're letting Russell Wilson throw the ball 27 for 40, 315 yards. DK Metcalf had over 100. So did Tyler Lockett, man. I love what I'm seeing from Seattle. You know, Glad that the Dallas Cowboys lost, so my Eagles can still have a chance to win the division. But this is one of the best games we saw today, man. Offensive side, both offenses were rolling. Defense stepped up at big times. I'm glad to see Auden Smith with the Cowboys back into the league. He balled out today. And then with the Seahawks, man, they're just battling injury, especially in that defensive backcourt. I mean, Jamal Adams went down. They have corners hurt, D linemen hurt. Their offense is very, very good, but can their defense stay healthy? That's a question we must ask ourselves.
You know what? You know what? You watch the Cowboys team. Last week I got so many phone calls, texts, people tagging me in posts talking about you
Same,
see them Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
same.
And I told them, don't wait. Be patient. Keep the same energy. I've yet to get a tag in one post. I've yet to get a text. I've yet to get a call. Matter of fact, I'm looking for them Cowboy fans. Where are y'all at? I'm looking for you.
You know
Stop.
they're not going to say anything. They're not going to say anything after a loss, even though it was a very very good game, and they kind of hurt themselves and towards the end with a whole bunch of penalties and stuff. But it was a good game. In Cowboys' minds, a L is a L, which it should be. They did take a L, and I'm not
Well,
I'm not going to say too much, but it was a very good game. Is all I'm going to say.
well, I definitely think the still Seahawks figured out a way to kind of control this team. They said, okay, one of you guys are going off, the other's not. Dak Prescott had a big game, but Ezekiel was relevantly a no show. Because I mean, they every time they ran the ball, they stopped, and I think they kind of effective in the passing game because you've seen them dropping wide open passes that normally he would catch. But I'm happy that the Cowboys lost. Man, this is a good time for Saquon Barkley to be back, be healthy, and man, my Giants just blew it. Yeah. So I'm kind of dependent on the Eagles right now because I hate the Cowboys.
Let's just not talk about the NFCs, man.
Yeah.
Let's just move on from that topic right there entirely.
Yeah. So let's move to the next game. It's the Detroit Lions going against the Arizona Cardinals. And the score is 26-23, which I was kind of surprised. I know
We're all surprised on this one, man.
you would think, me personally, you would think, with the fourth injuries the 49ers have, they're banged up all over the place. Even though they won, they played against my Giants. You would think this Cardinals team would come out trying to win a lot of games, and I expect them to win a lot of games just so they can take advantage of getting that second spot in that division. You seen the Rams lost today. This was a perfect chance for them to get a win, but they just couldn't get done. Did you watch that game?
I watched a little bit of it, and I will say this: I had the Cardinals in the beginning of the year being one of my sleeper teams. I thought they have a very good roster, not a great roster, and they'll be able to win some games. But in the NFL, any team can lose any given week. And this Detroit Lions team was also one of my sleeper teams. But I'm just disappointed. Kyler Murray threw 3 interceptions, if I'm not mistaken. That's just something we're not accustomed of him doing, And I don't remember all interceptions. I'll gladly go back and look at it. But 3 interceptions is 3 too many. This is a game that if they would have won, they're right behind the Seahawks, second in their division, because like you said, the Rams lost in a very, very good game. And I just want to point out this. When I said Josh Allen on my list, you were surprised. The man had 5 total touchdowns, but we're not going to get into this. The Rams lost, This is the perfect time for this team to step up. They took an L to the Lions, team that is still a very good ball club, but not a lot of people had the Lions winning this game. So I was disappointed watching a little bit of the game, seeing the final outcome, because I expected more out of this young Cardinals team, and especially Kyler Murray. But, do I think they can flip it around? Of course, they have far too much talent, but, Kyler Murray just didn't have his day. I'll put it like that.
All right, definitely, it happens. That's what happens. So just hopefully you can bounce back in next week's game.
Yes.
Now, this next one was kind of, I feel sorry for Nate the Great. But it's his Denver Broncos, and they're also dealing with health issues as well. So
way too many.
Yeah, so that's probably a big reason why the score is the way it is today. The Buccaneers won 28-10, and honestly, man, it looks like Tom Brady is definitely getting that chemistry with Mike Evans. I believe he had like 2 touchdowns tonight, and I mean they looked good.
Yeah, he didn't have big plays, but he had, two touchdowns. But yeah, this Broncos team is, I will say this. The Broncos, if they were fully healthy, this would have been a ball game. The amount of talent that they collected throughout this offseason is just unfathomable. But the fact that most of that talent has gotten hurt, the quarterback is out, receiver problems, running back problems, defensive problems, they just had no chance. And I will say this, Tom Brady and those, wide receivers and that offense is starting to click. That defense, even though they went up against a, pretty banged up offense, they were still a very good defense. And you just hope to see Tom Brady and the offense keep clicking. And I will say this, without a preseason and the shortening camps and all that stuff, it was going to take them a while to start hitting on all strides. But, they're going to pick up the pace, and it's going to be scary with Tom Brady, Godwin, all the other weapons that they have on this team because they have a lot, and they had two running backs. And I see Nate's comment. Nate, I honestly don't agree with you. I mean, I honestly agree with you. Well, it's 50-50 to me. I wouldn't be surprised if they would have won because the Broncos were another one of my sleeper teams because how much talent they acquired this offseason. I thought they had a chance to make a wild card. They were missing so many players from the Von Millers, to the Drew Locks. The list will on and on and on. So I'm not mad at Nate for thinking that way, but this is not an if league. This is a who won and who lost. And those Broncos took that L today, my friend.
Well, let's move on to the game of the night.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Green Bay Packers in New Orleans going against the Saints, 37-30. I think I want. Is it okay if I start this one off, my friend?
Go ahead, because I think we're gonna end it off in the same way.
He's a bad.
My volume down. Yeah, it's a little loud right there.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. Y'all seen him tonight. No Devontae Adams, no Michael Thomas on both sides. So whichever team got production from the wide opposition was going to do it. I mean, if you look at this Green Bay team, even though I said Drew Brees still had more weapons, they had an Alvin Kamara who went off on one play. Man, it would take me out like one day to get a tackle to do, but he went off. You had Emmanuel Sanders still out there. I mean, this team was still loaded, but you had a Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones making plays. Man, this dude literally was sitting back in the pocket just throwing bombs. I mean, just throwing dimes, as we say, as Damian Lillard. This dude was, I mean, he was getting them offside. He was doing it all. This team, I thought the Saints should have won this game. Well, I'm not going to say they should have won this game. I think this is a must-win game for them because you see once the Tampa Bay Buccaneers start getting momentum, they start winning games. New Orleans, you're not going to want to keep losing games, so you can keep losing position in the race. So I thought this was a must-win for New Orleans instead of Green Bay, but this sets Green Bay up in a good position. They keep winning, man. We can see a battle with Green Bay and Seattle at the end. And at that point, it just depends on who's more healthy because I believe Wilson's, even though I like Rodgers, Wilson is just as good. It just depends on who's just as healthy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my opinion for later down in the playoffs. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna wait till that happens. But I will say this: Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, and I understand. They say he doesn't have receivers. But when you have a great quarterback, and let's call it what it is, Matt LaFleur is a winner. If I'm not mistaken, he's 16-3 since he's been a head coach. The play designs that go down on there are amazing. You know Devontae Adams, but Alan Lazar has 6 receptions, 146 yards, and a touchdown. He's making big plays. I mean, when you have a quarterback and you have a play caller, things can get done. Aaron Rodgers can make every single throw on the field, and for people saying Patrick Mahomes are making these throws they've never seen before, please do your research on Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes is just a young version of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was doing this for year after year after year after year. We just growing accustomed to it. I mean, the dude literally fades away and throws the ball with a flick of the wrist, 50 yards downfield. But this is a great game. I was tuned in from I knew it was going to be a shootout. I knew, teams would go for it on fourth because it was just that type of game. 7 points were way more valuable than 3. And, it came down to a couple of things. That Taysom Hill fumble really screwed up the New Orleans Saints. And, people can say, oh, it's a bad play call. But listen, when Drew Brees isn't the same quarterback he was 6 years ago, when he's not throwing it all the way down the field, when he's Mr. Check down, do you have to find different creative ways to get more yards and hurt the defense? And everybody knows Taysom, was undrafted. Well, I will say this, a lot of great players were undrafted. It's not it's about the work you put in to get to where you at, and obviously put in the work and it paid off. But with the New Orleans Saints, man, Drew Brees isn't the same quarterback, so they have to find creative ways to be successful. One of those ways was giving it to Alvin Kamara, and I heard one of the announcers saying he thinks he's the best running back in the game, and I'm not mad at him for that. Alvin Kamara is just as good to me as McCaffrey. He's just a dual threat, of a running back as McCaffrey, as a Saquon. Alvin Kamara is the real deal. Dude can do it in a receiving game, and he can run the ball. The difference is they have Latavius Murray back there, and Latavius Murray went off today. I mean, that running game was amazing. I think they have to be led by that running game and let the running game set up the passing game. Alvin Kamara had 139 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, and 58 yards on the ground. Latavius Murray had 58 yards on the ground. To me, they should have ran the ball a little bit more. But when Alvin Kamara is that effective, he's hard to tackle. He's crafty. He knows how to get open. He's just the real deal. But with that being said, moving on, the New Orleans Saints, they have to figure something out. They need to get Emmanuel Sanders more involved. They need to get their whole receiving core more involved. If it's obvious that Drew Brees doesn't want to chuck the ball down the field, then help set up some plays where he can take some more checkdowns. Because man, it was at times where I'm like, the old Drew Brees would have let it fly. Like it was looking bad. Even though he did march him down the field a couple of times, we can obviously tell this is not the same Drew Brees. This New Orleans Saints needs to be led by their defense and their running game, and their defense obviously at the end let them down with all the penalties and jumping off sides, man. So
They have to miss Michael Thomas as well.
yeah, they missed Michael Thomas, because I mean they Michael Thomas is just one of his favorite, weapons. It's still gonna be the same thing, slant, slant, slant. Michael Thomas is just effective in doing that, and he gets open a lot. But yeah, this is all what I expected. I expected a great game. I expected a shootout. I expected it come down to the wire, and it was about which team made the first mistake. That fumble at the end was honestly the mistake that changed everything. I thought it was a very good game. I think it's honestly going to be one of the best games we've seen this season. So, and it just imagine if Devontae Adams and Michael Thomas was there, it'd have been even better. But it's still without them two guys, it was a great game led by two Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Hey, Chris, before we end the show, man, how, how are you looking forward to the Monday Night Football tomorrow night? No, we're not gonna get in detail about the game, but your reaction and your thoughts about that game.
Listen, man, this is going to be one of the best games this season. I'm calling it right now. Both teams are clicking on all cylinders. Both teams are returning their key guys. You look at the Ravens, they added some new additions. Hopefully they can step up this Monday because they like Calais Campbell. We need to see that pass rush. This is the game to see that pass rush. All those guys they signed, it's time for y'all to step up. This is going to be a very good game, led by two great quarterbacks, led by two Hall of Fame coaches. So, like the Saints and like the Green Bay Packers game, it's going to come down to who makes the first mistake. This game can be a shootout, and then both defenses can step up. I do think the Ravens defense is better. I don't think they had Marcus Peters when they played him the first time, did they?
No, sir.
I think he can help out with all those weapons Kansas City has. Baltimore defense needs to step up big. They need to step up big. I think the Ravens offense can get it done, but the Baltimore has a way better defense than Kansas City. So that defense needs to step up and help that offense out any way possible. Because when you're going against the Kansas City Chiefs, they can score 21 in 5 minutes. So, time of possession for the Ravens, not making any turnovers and causing turnovers against that Kansas City team. Because, man, they're great. It's just going to be a great game. I cannot wait to watch this one, man.
I will say this before we're gonna make our predictions tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, man. If I'm Lamar Jackson, if I want to show that, hey, we're the team to beat in the AFC this year, we're the team, not the Chiefs. It will be a heck of a way to display that on tomorrow night, in my opinion. But before we go off, I would like.
I'm 50-50 on that because they lost last year against the Chiefs and still were the team to beat all throughout the year. So I mean,
the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. That's all.
Okay, well, yeah, I see you on that, but still, they're going to come out and they're going to play their best, and that's in the back of their mind. But he's still, a playoff win to him is more important than winning against the Chiefs. I do think it's the time if he shows out, people will put some more respect on his name. But win, lose, or draw, what he's going to do in the regular season. Everybody's waiting to see what he does in the postseason.
Man, our dude Nate is expecting some big points to score tomorrow, 48-44. Man, wouldn't that be nice? Like a big offensive game. I want to answer this before we get off. Adam said, Freddie, what's your thoughts on Rodgers having thrown 2 touchdowns and created a first-round pick? It is another example why the Green Bay Packers do not deserve Aaron Rodgers. I've said it many times. I hope he wins.
I got to answer this one.
I hope he wins a Super Bowl this year, demands a trade, get him up out of there, because this organization is a disgrace. You drafted a quarterback in the first round, a quarterback after a team that was one game away from winning a Super Bowl. But instead of you trading that or using that to get a top wide receiver, You draft a quarterback. How disgraceful! How you don't deserve Aaron Rodgers at all.
Listen, man. I understand that stat, but please don't act like Aaron Rodgers has never had great weapons throughout his career. The dude has had great weapons his entire career. Maybe no, not even maybe. His entire career, he has had great weapons. Just because somebody didn't get drafted in the first round doesn't mean they're great talent. You had Jordy Nelson, you had Greg Jennings, you had Jermichael Finley, you had Donald Driver. I mean, the list can go on and on and on and on. Let's not act like Aaron Rodgers never had great weapons. Now he always had great weapons. Just because somebody isn't drafted in the first round doesn't mean they're not great. I understand that's a blazing stat, and this year is the only year I would say they were dead wrong and not drafting a wide receiver in that first round. I will agree with you on that. There's no way in the world that they go to the NFC Championship and you do not draft another wide receiver to add up with. I think Lazard, as y'all say he's undrafted, I think he's going to be a big part. You have him, Devontae Adams, and you could have got a Pittman, could have got a Higgins. There's a lot of receivers.
They could even got CeeDee Lamb. Just think about the seat, like CeeDee and Dallas. He looked good.
Yeah, no, that just CeeDee Lamb was drafted before that. CeeDee Lamb was drafted before that. He was drafted way before that. But the point being is that, they could have drafted a receiver, but let's not act like Aaron Rodgers hasn't had great weapons because he'll say it to everybody. He has had some great talent around him. I understand this year in drafting a wide receiver, but that stat doesn't mean nothing to me because just because somebody's not in the first round doesn't mean they're not great. He has some great receivers and tight ends with him in his career.
Yeah, we agree, but it just sucks that the dude.
Only this year is the only time I'll say it sucks because he really has had great weapons. So I understand not drafting a wide receiver in the first round, but when you have all those weapons, it's not like he was never producing and those weapons weren't putting up the stats, or they were all putting up the stats. But this year, I can definitely agree with that. Not drafting a quarterback in the first round made no sense because Aaron Rodgers has still time left in his deal, And it's not like he's had a drop. It's not like he dropped off, or it's not like he's a turnover machine, like the great Brett Favre was. Aaron Rodgers is not that. You draft another wide receiver or even somebody on defense, and now they draft a receiver and another running back when you already have two very good running backs. So it's not like this team doesn't have talent around them, but another wide receiver would have helped more than a backup quarterback, I'll say.
Right. Well, Chris, tomorrow evening, we have a big show.
Big show.
And it's going to carry on Tuesday. We have a Jay McLevin joining us, and then and Thursday. So we definitely want to keep all the energy and keep all that ready to start it tomorrow. So I think we'll hold back until tomorrow, and then tomorrow we'll bring the fire again.
I will say this Thursday, with the topics I'm about to put out, it's going to be wild, especially Thursday being right after game one. It's it's going to be all shows this week. We're going to get into it. There's some topics in there that's going to frustrate me. Some things I'm going to say that's going to frustrate Freddie. And Freddie's going to have his wild takes, everybody, where he says the Giants is the best team in the NFL. He just can't help himself. He wants me to get out the character, but I will say this. Everybody be prepared for some great shows this week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, then other shows you'll have Wednesday and Friday, man. Woo-wee. Be prepared because we're going to get into it, especially on our shows, man.
Well, everybody, thank you for watching. Please like our page, follow our page. Hey, we're out. You guys have a good night.